Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are just hours away from UFC 312, and the card has gotten a pretty bad rap in the public popularity. There is so many good Australian prospects on this card, young fighters coming up, just prospects in general. Like you have guys like Cody Steele coming through the ranks, Quillan Salkeld, Colby Thicknesse. There's a big story in that fight. And yes, the main card, the pay-per-view portion, is pretty, I would say, weak in name value apart from those top two title fights. If we look deeper, just look a little bit deeper throughout that card, I think the sort of product you're going to get in terms of mixed martial arts is going to be very exciting to watch. Yes, like I said, these Australian prospects don't have that proven name value, but these guys are so hungry and want to make some extra cash. Like the Australian crowd in mixed martial arts is, I would say, one of the best, one of the most animated, one of the most electric. And these young guys know that. Like these young Aussie talents have been dreaming of a moment like this, putting on in front of their home crowd. So yes, if you look through matchup to matchup, I'm sure, especially for the American fans, there's not too many fights you're probably really looking forward to. But this is me giving you the warning to just stick with it, come in with an open mind, because you're going to see some really, really closely contested fights and some very well-rounded prospects who are looking to make a name for themselves. There are so many instances where coming into a card, especially these fight night cards, when they go on the road in a city or even at the Apex, like this is where this conversation is coming up most of the time. A card where there's not too much name value, a lot of guys who are just making a start in the UFC. Naturally, that doesn't garner so much fan attention, anticipation, excitement. But on a card like that, usually the result, what we see, how entertained we are during that card, usually far supersedes even some of these electric pay-per-views, which we are very hyped up for weeks leading into. So, yes, it isn't the most stacked card in terms of name value. We don't have a lot of superstars on this card, but it's almost like an investment in the next couple of years because the fighters, like I mentioned, Quillan Salkeld, Colby Thicknesse, Mikalev, Big Train Tom Nolan, like Australia, the sort of level it's producing in its prospects is night and day from just a few years ago. So I think some eyes are going to get opened and there's going to be a lot of really interesting talking points after this fight card. Like I said, those top two, the co-main, the main event, could headline and co-headline any single pay-per-view, and they're great, great fights. I'm sure we're all very much looking forward to those two fights, but for these prelims, make sure you guys tune in because like I said, we've got young, hungry fighters who are really, really want to break into the UFC and show the world what they're made of, prove themselves on this world stage. One of the biggest storylines going into this whole card is one of the prelim fights. Aleksandre Topuria, Ilya's brother, the featherweight champion, making his debut in a really, really interesting spot here for two debuting UFC fighters. On the other side, Colby Thicknesse. This guy's been training with Volkanovski since he was in primary school. Like, the guy has been training his whole life in that gym and he's finally getting his shot into the UFC. The best bantamweight in Australia, I think for the last few years now. So this is long overdue. And for this storyline to be coming in, having Volks and Ilya in those opposing corners, it's really interesting how much pressure's on this young kid's shoulders. Like Topuria, he knew this hype was coming, just based off that last name. But Thicknesse, for him to have to carry that responsibility of getting one back for his mentor, Volkanovski, I wonder how mentality-wise he's feeling going into a fight like this. Because like I said, skill-wise, the kid is very, very good. And his heart, that ability to just push through is one of the things that makes him so special. So don't get me wrong, stylistically, I really love his chances here, but it's different coming into the UFC. And then with all of this added pressure, these added storylines, these extra eyes, it's really a sink or swim moment. So make sure you guys are watching nice and early. This card is full, like I said, of young Australian prospects who are eager to get 50K. And just turn some heads and open some eyes, because especially coming out of this region, somewhere that's a little bit underdeveloped in mixed martial arts, these guys need opportunities like this to really, really make a name for themselves. Thank you so much for joining me. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And we will chat soon.